Dear guests, good morning. So this is day 93 of Ukrainian fight for its freedom. This is Media Center, and our guest today is Stepan Kuibida, Director of Economic Policy Department at Lviv Oblast Military Administration. We are going to talk about the war, about the region's economy, and about war economy. How did the economy of Lviv region change over the period of 3 months? Glory to Ukraine, dear colleagues. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for letting me talk about economic issues. I'd like to make a few emphasis about the economy of Lviv region and the Western region economy because it's undergoing transformation, and I'm also going to talk about the prospects for the nearest future. Besides the fact that Lviv became home or shelter to internally displaced people and became a humanitarian hub, we are also performing a huge role regarding hosting economic enterprises. Those regions that suffered the most or are still in the area of active hostilities, so they can relocate their enterprises to Lviv region. Basically, this is literally a relocation of their industrial capabilities. This initiative started from week 3 since active hostilities in the east began. As of today, we have processed around 890 applications. So we met the representatives of the business organizations, we discussed their needs, and we were able to make an offer so that they could relocate their businesses to Lviv region. As of today, we've got 147 businesses who already relocated. So these are big, small, and medium enterprises. More than 100 of them already started their economic activities. So we understand the production process, the supply chain. Most of them are from machine building industry, food industry, textile industry, and chemical industry. Lviv region became home to these enterprises. We are also trying to provide support to relocated business and local business that also suffered to a certain degree. As of today, the government offers support, so these single-time payments, privileged credit program. We also offer our own support. More than 50 million hryvnias was relocated to support the economy of local relocated enterprises. Those companies that relocated to Lviv region and they started their activity here, so they can get support of 100,000 hryvnias. If they create more than 20 jobs, they can get double of that. We understand that there is also an issue with the realization of the project. We also offer vouchers worth of 150,000 hryvnia so that that can cover marketing needs of the relocated companies, so they can enter new markets and they can strengthen their position in the existing market. The next thing we made is that Lviv region is the export-oriented region, and we understand that the consumer market is in stagnation, so we need to win new markets. EU and other partner countries are open to communicate with Ukraine in the sector of trade and economy, but in order to enter these markets, we need to meet certain criteria. So we need to go through certification and standardization in order to meet the requirements of EU, which are pretty high. Therefore, we offered support 80,000 hryvnias, that is a voucher basically, and they can spend this money to meet certification criteria. The producers have to provide quality products and marketing and certification should be outsourced to those companies that can do that fast and in a quality way. Another thing we offer to enterprises, we understand that some of the main funds have been amortized, and we know that equipment probably was damaged or destroyed. In order to win new markets, they need new equipment. So we offer $500,000 support to purchase new equipment. However, there are certain limitations. This support can only be provided to manufacturing facilities, those who work in equipment manufacturing, agricultural, industrial, and textile industry. We also managed to build a good communication with Horizon Capital Foundation. They also allocated $250,000, that's the first tranche, in order to support business of Ukraine. So we actually synchronized our activities with that foundation. We are also working with other funds. I'm not ready to mention their names as of today, but we have certain arrangements with the companies that can provide consulting services, advisory services. UNDP is quite open to cooperation. They will be providing legal and other types of consulting services to business enterprises, different associations, industrial clusters that are already working in Lviv region. We met them, we discussed things, and we requested that they provide assistance to relocated companies, especially in terms of marketing, logistics, etc. As I mentioned, that Lviv is export-oriented region, and we closely work with Chamber of Commerce, with the commercial attaché. We presented informational presentational materials, and soon we are going to update our export catalog. There will be 150 manufacturing facilities of Lviv region that have image, knowledge, experience, institutional knowledge in export sphere, and they will be winning new markets. We are supporting the investors, so this is investment support. There were a lot of facilities that worked in Ukraine before the war, so they terminated their activity. I'm talking about the external foreign investments. But good news is that over the past 3 weeks, there has been revival of investment activity. So we go back to discussing industrial parks, development of industrial parks, etc. I'm not going to talk about individual particular projects because of security issues, but I can say that there are 7 districts of Lviv region, and all of them demonstrate revival of activity, which is still various, but our major objective is to balance industrial development in time and space. I have a question for you. If you allow me, I will talk about the structure of economics first, and then we will move on to questions. As of today, there were 180 big manufacturing facilities in Lviv region. Some of them stopped their activity. So now 61 company is not working, still not working. But 120 came back to their activity. So this is already success story. How relocation and other processes are going to affect our economy, it's hard to say as of today because I cannot count on statistics, because we know that there is no good statistics as of today, because we do not get good reports, etc. But Lviv region economy was pretty diversified, and business relocation does not affect the above-mentioned processes. We understand that the competition is going to be much higher, it's going to be volatile, but we always know that competition is a good sign. There are good prerequisites for logistics development. We are a logistical region during the wartime, and we met the expectations that the, the whole country had on about us. But we know that our logistic capability is going to grow um, because of the collapse with ports. Here we have railway transport and we have ground transport. We are now working with logistical companies. We are trying to address this issue systemically. There are also prerequisites for alternative energy sources development, and the reasons are understandable. Also, there will be machine and equipment building sector that we think will be growing because we will be working for the defense sector. There are good prospects for their development. I think that Ukrainian companies are capable of producing the equipment for defense industry. The trend as of today is also that some companies make dual use products so that they can meet the needs of the existing market and also make sure that they grow their industrial capacity as of today. We are also working with subject matter experts who help us with strategic planning. This is more of a vision, and I believe that we will get back to that after the victory. So that was the brief overview of the situation as of today. I will also talk about the deficit of some of the products that have been discussed by our media. You know that the biggest problem is fuel, is gas for the car, and also salt. We understand that there are a lot of logistical issues. I believe that import will help fix the problem, solve the problem, and also if we start the production of those goods here. There is good understanding how we can address the problem, but the time is against us. So here we are talking not about days, weeks, but maybe months, even half a year. I'm ready to take questions. You started talking about deficit products. When can we expect the deficit for fuel to go down? We had meetings with the representatives of this industry. We understand where we can get those goods from, but the question is the price. We have to understand that the price is going to be exorbitant. The government is trying to be cooperative, they are trying to reduce the certain limitations, but unfortunately mathematics is against us. Another thing is logistics. We know that the ministry is working on it right now, and the forecast was that the issue will be addressed and solved as of now. But I believe that in the near future, we are talking about weeks, maybe months. So I will be honest with you. So we will still have the deficit of gas. You were also talking about the changes in the structure of economy that are, so the economy is affected by the relocation of certain companies. And also you were talking about the closure of ports. and you understand that the logistic component is growing in Lviv. But there is also the number of internally displaced people who might stay here for good. And this is not an issue. This is an opportunity because these are people who can become potentially your employees and taxpayers. What are the programs that Lviv region has in order to integrate those people who decided to stay in Lviv and Lviv region? If we go back to official statistics, 150, 250 to 280,000 internally displaced people are in Lviv at the moment, but they are living in social infrastructural objects. I believe that we can double that figure because the statistics is not accurate. We don't know who lives in the private sector. I believe that altogether 5,600,000 people, internally displaced people, live here. How many of them are going to stay here for good? It's hard to say, but maybe experience of other countries says that it's between 13 to 22% of people. We understand that we need to give jobs to these people, so they have to be busy, and we all have to pay taxes and serve the needs of our economy. We did a few things here. We met the representatives of unemployment office, and the unemployment office is ready to meet and register such people, even if they lost some of their documents. When they were trying to flee, they were probably not thinking where their labor records book is. I analyzed the figures as of last week. 2,500 people already approached the unemployment center. It's not much. I believe that it's not a hard job to go and get registered and apply for a job. Internally displaced people get welfare and they live on welfare, or they need to start getting themselves a job, looking for a job at least. We also had a meeting with educational department. We are preparing regional plan. This is for vocational education regional plan. We understand that vocational education has to take the burden, and I believe that we need to make certain corrections here and certain adjustments so that internally displaced people who decided to stay here so they can go for requalification. Another thing is some people already have qualification, but they probably need to polish their skills or update their qualifications. And there will be the centers that will be providing such services to internally displaced people where they can go for advanced training and update their skills. In the nearest months, I hope we will be able to provide a more specific plan. I'm talking about economic plan. It will be more structured. It will be more like a document because as of today, we have what I have talked about. We also need to pay credit to give credit to the heads of territorial communities because they involve internally displaced people in housing and utilities sector. And some communities have taken over the function which was not typical of them before. So they are trying to talk to the businesses in their territory and they advocate for internally displaced people. They say, please give them the job. So this is the initiative that communities have taken over. The cancellation of um, duty and uh, duty payments with EU. So did that affect the situation? Of course, because it affected the price of raw materials, especially for industrial sector. There are always advantages and disadvantages to it because it affected the exchange rate US dollar, Ukrainian hryvnia. At least we managed to keep the dollar at certain level. I have a degree in economics, and I understand that this is a temporary solution. Such mechanism cannot work forever. So we cannot aggressively invite imports to our country because it's going to kill our economy, but economy has to work. Therefore, we talked to the representatives of the Cabinet of Ministers, and we suggest that we need to review the customs duty policy and the policy that was offered as a local decision, local solutions. Are there any questions? There are no questions, so we thank you. Stepan Kuibida, the Director of Economic Policy Department at Lviv Oblast Military Administration. Our next guest will be Kira Rut.